Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our coverage of the Amateur Australian Overwatch League. And we're wasting no time. We are back with another match between OmegaLuL and Error 404. My name is Cyberwaste, and I'm joined by Peronius. How do you do?
Absolutely, and once again, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great match. It's great to be back here with Cyberwaste, and we will be once again starting off in Lijiang Tower. Just waiting for where are we? Where are we going? What is going on here? Looks like we'll be starting in Temple of Anubis, but we should be starting in Lijiang Tower. So just a couple of things being.
Someone mixed up their Mac pools. That's not till later on. They have a change between that and Hanamura. And wow, perhaps to change from control center to the garden instead. Maybe there's a hidden motive.
Ooh, that would certainly be some very underhanded plays if that were the case. But nope, we're no. What are we doing here? I'm very confused, and I think so are a lot of the players in this lobby. But we will be getting this match underway shortly. Once we have determined we're in the right place with the right settings. And then we'll be heading into Lijiang Tower Gardens. And it looks like we are actually going in for real this time. There will be no more debates.
Yay! Can you actually spectate the game? Because the lobby is looking weird and only Zero and myself have eyes on. Everything alright over there?
I believe so. It looks no, yes, no, maybe.
And do you have eyes on the entire on the server, Mr. Peronius?
I do indeed, yes.
Okay, so I think we're good.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, just a little bit of hiccups because the all the lobbies are manned by the players, so there are a couple of issues that we do have to iron out, but we are good to go. Error 404 in the blue and OmegaLuL on the red. And, well, looks like the side of Error 404 are really wanting to put things down early with the speed-based composition, and looks like OmegaLuL are more built for endurance.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to see some early point progress, or early point positioning, rather, taken up by the members of OmegaLuL here, but it's not working out for them as Phoenix getting a lot of damage in with that Pharah.
Yeah, keep an eye on the skies. If you leave a Pharah unchecked, they will make your life a rough one. And although Kazuki did go down, brought back into the fight, and the point unlocked, but they didn't get as much progress. So a little bit of a preemptive celebration and repositioning. But Error 404 are getting percentage, but a big sleep on a Phoenix right through the window.
Yeah, absolutely, but perhaps not the most impactful. There's no ability to follow up on a Pharah that is behind a wall, and so they are going to be able to take back to the skies. Here comes the aggression, and there's the Deadeye, but absolutely gets stuffed out by Flanko.
But in amongst that, with the Devo Flanko preoccupied, the Deadeye did go off and mop up the attackers of the side of OmegaLuL. So that will be the side of Error 404. They're holding on for now, and they're extremely well. They're well positioned, and in terms of their ultimates, they're doing a lot better than their opposition on OmegaLuL.
Yeah, absolutely. Phoenix Risen getting a huge amount of damage done there with the barrage, and they're just going to continue to be able to free fire rockets down into this team. All the defensive tools are available here for the members of Error 404, but there's an early Diva Bomb picking up two huge plays.
A big damage dealer and Clownfish and Bread ended up going stale and having to be chucked out. There is the self-destruct there from Flank Ocean to end up bearing fruit. But in amongst that fight, OmegaLuL have taken progress on the point, and that might be an oversight. Phoenix Risen uses the barrage, will claim a trio. 3 of a kind. And yes, there is brief progress for OmegaLuL, but that might be all for naught, especially if Phoenix Risen keeps running roughshod over the opposition like this. The point will flip back over. to Era 404.
Thanks for the assist.
Absolutely, and you've got to be really feeling it there. Phoenix Risen, that's basically 2 barrages in 2 team fights. They are just getting so much value from this Pharah pick, and it's so hard to deal with it when you don't have a D.Va to eat those rockets. Clownfish basically having to fight a pharmacy almost by themselves, not an enviable position to be in, but here comes the next and potentially last push.
And Phoenix Risen did get the line of the Deadeye, was back behind the post. Phoenix will get rid of Yui. That is a Brigida out of the fight. We know how valuable they can be. The sound barrier goes down for the remaining members of OmegaLuL. And Phoenix Risen will pop them full of rockets. Sefu will blow out Flank Ocean in a tide of Mountain Dew and Fallout. And that is the first point going to Era 404.
Absolutely. So far, they have given a dominant performance there. That said, Gardens is one of those places where Pharah can absolutely do that. Can still get value out of her from Night Market here, but it can be a lot harder to do so as well. So, we'll see if we do continue to have the Pharah player. No, it does look like they will be swapping over to the Brigida there instead. They're going to be running the classic Zen Goats, which means that that Pharah threat no longer something to worry about if you're OmegaLuL. That said, OmegaLuL's still got Clownfish on the McCree because they're expecting... No, they're swapping over to their own goats, as I say that. And so it will be the Moira goats into the Zen goats. You do have to give a slight comp advantage there over to Aero 404, but it's all going to come down to the execution.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to personal skill and timing that. And isn't it a full-blown deadlock in terms of percentage, but Kazukid will drop Yui first, and if the Brigida falls first, it's obviously going to get more difficult for your squad, and Era 404 have evac the point, sounded the bell, and they will get first dibs on the...
Absolutely, and so once again we continue to see Era 404 just asserting their dominance here on this stage. They're going to try and set up the camp here at this choke point. Kazukid's got a shatter, which is going to be absolutely devastating, and unfortunately the members of OmegaLuL still quite a ways from their ultimates now.
Really banking on perhaps the shield to be shattered on the red side of OmegaLuL. Raven has sent Sefu down. That is the Earth Shatter from Kazukid, and well, that is a lot of fun if you are Kazukid, laying down a lot of the opposition and making them really want to retreat. You actually brought down extremely late by Phoenix Risen, so OmegaLuL really out of sorts very early on as the percentage continues to climb.
Absolutely, and it's a dangerous position to be in. Kazukid's used the shatter, but now Sefu's got the Grav online, they've got the ultimate rotation going, and if they can continue to win these fights cheaply, it's going to be very hard to get in on this point.
Yui is called the Rally to Arms. Graviton Surge committed by Era 404. The bomb was as well, did not bear much fruit. That is the combo back in stereo. Flank Ocean will get 3 and lay down the boom for them, and the side of OmegaLuL will get their first taste of the point in spectacular fashion.
Absolutely, and they definitely needed that. At 76%, they really don't have a lot of spare wiggle room here if they do end up giving up this point, and they've had to commit a lot of resources just to get the flip. That said, the previous defenders of Aero 404 used a lot of resources of their own, so things are about even, and it's going to come down to Kazukid's Shatter versus Aksui's Transcendence. If the Shatter doesn't pick up the Zen, but it does land, it can be cancelled out. So a lot of pressure on Kazukid to not just hit the Shatter, but get the Zen, and that's what he does.
There's the Shatter, and Taksui does end up getting the Transcendence off and keeping the comrades topped up and forcing Era 404 to basically say, yeah, this is a write-off, and Sefu is just basically delaying the inevitable and ends up being taken down by Clownfish. So that is one fight done for OmegaLuL, but it's definitely not over yet for either side.
Yeah, absolutely, and really great plays there from the members of Era 404. They may have lost Taksui, they didn't lose him, but he did get shattered. That Transcendence was not available. However, a lot of the other members of the team did not get hit with that shatter because of how they fanned out. As a result, they're able to punish Kazukid and win out that fight.
And Clownfish threw out the Graviton Surge and ended up chipping down Cherry. Well, that was essentially one op committed for the opposition to be completely wiped out. And Error 404 were definitely not found. Not for a while. You have to reboot the server and get everybody back in, and that's exactly what is now going to transpire. Look at the ultimates that are on Error 404, actually. This could be their best chance.
This is their last shot. They need this here. OmegaLuL have really taken over the driver's seat here, and this is going to be their last fight.
There is the Graviton Surge and the self-destruct committed. The shield will basically cancel that out, but Kazoo Kid will lay the shoulder into a pair of the members of OmegaLuL, and they'll be lolling all the way to the back on the side of 404. They wrestle back control of the point, using basically what they had to hand aside from the Transcendence.
Absolutely, and a very nice late charge there from Kazoo Kid to break away that Reinhardt shield just at the right moment for that Diva Bomb to clean it up. Timing needed to be absolutely spot on because the Rhine was so close to the wall. Absolutely nails it, and so that allows them to flip the point, and now we will have our last fight here.
Big Shadow did not get as much as you probably would have liked. That is the Transcendence coming out from Cherry to keep 404 up, and the South Barrier's been committed by Brad, and sadly for him, the teammates are going out all around him. Pulsar had actually eaten the Graviton Surge from, I think it was Clownfish there. And now Error 404 definitely putting the muscle in, have wiped out the opposition, and Error 404 will claim Lijiang Tower for themselves.
Absolutely, and a very decisive performance there from Error 404, but we did see signs of life for OmegaLuL. They did show that when they get a chance to play the game, they are quite good at it too, but unfortunately just some really nice ult rotations from Error 404 mean that, unfortunately, they're denied the opportunity to have many of those fights, just due to some clean executions. Now, we will be taking just a very quick break here, as we do need to fix a couple of things with the stream. So just bear with us while some things get fixed up on our end.
And welcome back. We vanquished the little technical gremlins that we had to deal with, and we should be good to go. And just to remind you, Error 404 up 1-0. That gave OmegaLuL the power of choice. And we're going to Dorado for our second map.
Bit of a different choice here. We've seen a lot of the teams, as if you were with us in the previous broadcast, you'd know, favouring Rialto. So it's going to be interesting to see what these teams pull out here on Dorado. Definitely some opportunities here for some very different compositions. And with these two quite high-level teams, they've definitely got the chops needed to play some of those more demanding compositions as well, like the quad DPS comps, like some more dive-based compositions, or something playing around something like a Widowmaker or Pharah or both to take advantage of the long sight lines. So it's going to be interesting to see what these teams pull out here on Dorado.
Yeah, and even though Dorado was a map is far more drilled, the map has obviously been here for far longer than Rialto. With the changes in not only how heroes work, but new heroes being added to the cast, especially with the likes of Ash entering the fray, and had actually seen a little bit of play. And Flank Ocean is actually hovering over the member of the Deadlock gang. Hopefully we'll see her take to the field for that one. But I'm seeing a lot more Ash exclusively on Dorado and basically nowhere else.
Yeah, well, it's a good map for her because of all the different high ground positions she can play from, and she's got some decent escape tools that many of the other hit scans don't have. So we will see OmegaLuL playing this quad DPS comp by the looks of it over on the red. They will be rolling out a spawn here. It's going to be interesting to see if they can have the impact they're looking for from this very dynamic composition.
Really wanting to hold back on the side of OmegaLuL. When you consider it, you can't really blame them. And Clownfish has decided to take the first engagement. Gets a couple of nice dinks, but not really all that much value. But off the base of that recon, it looks like the change has taken place.
Yeah, it looks like that was just some early scouting there from the Widowmaker. Maybe they get a pick, but more importantly, just looking to see what they're up against. They see they're up against a dive comp, and they go, you know what, let's just go goats. And I think that's the right call as they get this payload underway.
The adage, when in doubt, goes out. A huge anti-nade for 404 to really take advantage of it. That single throw of the nade basically wiped out a lot of the potential advancements of OmegaLuL, but this cart will keep on moving. So sadly did not bear much fruit, but Bread gets a round right between the eyeballs. So Pulsar will be happy with that at least.
Absolutely, and Pulsar already popping the Widow sights here as the payload makes its way into the courtyard, but sights alone is not going to be a big deterrent to this tank-heavy composition. It is very meaty, and it's very difficult to get those key picks on the Widowmaker through. Bread is back with the team now, and they are just going to look to push forwards and surge into these defenders.
Basically, blunt force their way in, and now Error 404, they're trying to find their stabilization point. Taksui has thrown out the Transcendence, and the Dragon Blade comes out from Phoenix Rising, and it has definitely risen indeed. Will cut the entire attack in half and into splinters. And Error 404 will definitely stand tall in a very strong position just outside of the statue.
Absolutely, but they do have to commit the Nano Blade there to get that stabilization. That's a lot of resources gone, and it's only a matter of time before the tank ultimates of their opponents start to come online. OmegaLuL are going to get these big, high-impact tank ultimates online, and then it's going to be very dangerous for the defenders here. So they need to keep getting a lot of value onto this. They really need Pulsar to start picking up some kills on that Widowmaker to really justify the pick. Kazuki going in deep and popping the Primal just to stay alive.
Just stay up and in the fight. Kazuki perhaps not getting as much as you would have wanted. There is Flank Ocean throwing out the big boom, not really bearing much fruit. Neither did the opposition diva of Sefu. They're basically going into a tug of war just outside the statue, but the payload will slowly make progress, and now Error 404 in a bit of a predicament as to what choice they'd like to make in terms of their next. But with the big pick onto the Flank Ocean, no diva in the fight, that could be the decision made for. There is the Earth Shatter from Raven, does knock down a fair chunk and put the opposition on notice, and OmegaLuL are going all in with just about 40 seconds, and they had no choice to really do so anyway. And OmegaLuL are finally looking to close out this opening point. Sefu's just only played the clock and tried to buy time, and OmegaLuL finally, after a lot of patience, have taken first.
Absolutely, and you've got to be happy with that trade if you are OmegaLuL. They invest the Dragon Blade and the Nano Boost, and you cancel them both out with a single ultimate, shattering that Genji onto the ground. You've got to be happy with that trade. and they trade up from there. Now both teams going to be moving over to a more high ground base composition. We will be seeing the flying goats now out of OmegaLuL as we move on to the second, because of course that high ground is very important.
It looked like actually Kazuki had already gotten engaged upon and chunked down quite heavily. Graviton Surge is committed by Clownfish, does not bear all that much, but with Kazuki being taken down, that could be the cue for the attack to keep going and just force back the entire squad of Era 404. And, well, no frags have gone down, but in terms of forcing back their opposition, this has gone pretty much as well as you would have liked.
Absolutely, despite how long it took them to grind out that first point, OmegaLuL looking very good on the second point. Kazuki has already swapped over to the Reinhardt. They're getting ready for the third point defense here, but they are going for this fight here. Cherie going down early is not a good sign though for the defenders.
Definitely not. The Transcendence did go out for Era 404, but it was not to be. There is the Graviton Surge thrown out from both Clownfish and Sefu. Looks like my game has decided to have a bit of a hiccup, but at any rate, the point will be seized and OmegaLuL will continue their run.
Absolutely, Era 404 just a little too spread out in that fight, and the cap goes through while 4 of their members are still alive. But it was at least not a fight they were likely to be winning there, so it's not a huge issue for them there. That said, we will be moving over here onto the third point, and the initiative continues with Era 404 being driven back rather into spawn by the members of OmegaLuL. And it looks like, unfortunately, Cyberwaste has disconnected from the lobby, so I will just jump in here and call the action.
I have lost my eyes on the game itself.
Lost your eyes on the action, but the members of OmegaLuL here really pushing forwards. The defense has not been too successful here. Kazuki under a lot of pressure there, does get finally taken out by Bread on the fighting blow. Another Diva Bomb over the top, but doesn't quite pick anyone up. Phoenix Riven does get the DMEC onto flank Ocean, and Taksui has been taken down by Pulsar as well. So a lot of kills coming through from both sides, but neither team so far getting a dominant position. The defenders are favoured here, however, and we are seeing reinforcements coming through from Era 404. That is going to trigger the reset from OmegaLuL as they make their way back to spawn to try and get this one set up once again. And so just a big opportunity here for the defense to finally stabilize as we look to try and get Cyberwaste back into this lobby.
Sadly, I can't really tell you what happened or why it happened, but it happened. And at that time, things had tapered out for OmegaLuL. It was looking extremely.
Absolutely, but we will have another offense coming in here through. Rally being committed early, but the Shatter coming through as well to really not getting a lot out of that Kazuki, and he is sent back to spawn. The DMEC on the flank Ocean is maybe an opportunity here, but the attack still continuing to slowly grind things out. There's the Transcendence out from Drac. There's a late grab to then take advantage of it. The counter grab is there, only gets Taksui, but Phoenix Risen picking up a couple of kills on that Brigitte. Looks like once again the attackers will be repulsed here. Defenders finally managing to dig in, and with 20 seconds left on the clock, there is barely time for one more fight. Taksui is going to get a late stagger, which is really going to hurt their chances.
If we hold them here, we win.
So it's desperation time now, as just Bread is going to be able to get the touch on the cart. Flank Ocean is there as well, but the members of the attack are way too spread out. Era 404 absolutely has this payload locked down. Clownfish is back on the Wrecking Ball, just desperately trying to get back in, but it's just too little too late. They are too scattered out, and the attackers continue to get kicked down one after another. It's just Clownfish alone on the cart, and Taksui getting pressured out and back. Only a matter of time until that Wrecking Ball does eventually get pinned down, and there he goes. And with that goes the offense on Dorado. The cart will be stopped up here on third point.
Score 0-2. Switching sides. Initiating match.
Okay, and it looks like just due to some ongoing issues, Cyber Waste will be having to leave us now, but I will endeavor to fill his shoes and try and finish out this cast as we make our way onto the next phase. We will now be seeing Era 404 try and beat OmegaLuL's performance here as we make our way over to their offense.
Ready for battle.
And now, hopefully...
You're back.
Yes, I am back.
You are back. Okay.
Finally. Because it sounded like you'd gone full robot, and the application we use for commentary for this had decided to act all weird, so I had to basically reboot that and restart that. That's unfortunate.
Fair enough, but it's good to have you back, and now we will be transitioning over to the Arrow 404 attack, and it looks like we may be seeing something very interesting out of the defense.
Do not read too much into it until the gates go down.
Well, no, this is OmegaLuL's defense. They can't go back to spawn and swap. They are running with squad DPS.
Arrow 404. Oh wow, that's extremely interesting. Look at Flank Ocean with the Ash. We said so at the open that it could be the difference maker for them if, especially with the damage boost and the critical hits for them as well. So really interesting. Really banking on the mechanical skill and the damage output to basically stop this defense, this attack cold, and that's a good start.
That's a great start taking down Pulsar there, but and the DMEC onto Sefu as well. This is looking good for the defenders, but they need to get a little more done because this payload is still rolling forwards. They need to get some pressure on there. Flank Ocean going down is not what they need, and Phoenix Risen now almost free in the skies, now completely free in the skies with Clanfish.
And Brett is forced out has been forced to use the Transcendence to bring Clownfish back into the fight, and that's Error 404 just basically stalled out on this opening point, and a little bit of change is going to happen with Phoenix Risen. Decide to change over to the Genji for this attack, and oh golly, he's already been focused upon getting smacked down by Clownfish as the Widow.
Yeah, absolutely. The Clownfish going very low there as well. Sefu does get picked up early, but the res will be there, and Clownfish being picked up by Pulsar. Though the trade kill from Taxui comes through, but there's still an opportunity to push in here, and it looks like it is being seized.
And Bob's been called to action, and is being a big bad boy, as well as the minefield from Raven. And that this defense is going to be insanely strong. Not only because Bob can basically take anything like a champ. He's got a huge health pool and extremely resilient. Arrow 404 just couldn't deal with it, and this defense is going to hold strong once again. And look at where the payload's situated.
Yeah, it's a great place for it to be stopped, and we saw it in that fight with the EMP coming down on the gathered up members of the attack, and then there was a minefield and a Bob on top of them as well. Very difficult to deal with, but Flank Ocean going down there early is not a good start. Yui getting picked up either, not a good sign for the defense.
They're the two, well, the biggest high value targets that you could have wanted from Arrow 404, at least in the general vicinity. Pulsar's trying to make the chase onto the Mercy of Red in the Valkyrie form, did not end up getting anything of the sort. But this payload will keep going basically unhindered, and now with the... I thought that they had actually a chance to defend, but OmegaLuL might have mistimed there and have given over the point to Arrow 404.
Yeah, what is sort of the downside of this quad DPS comp, it is very fragile, and once things start to go wrong, it can be very hard to right yourselves. Certainly we see that as the members of Arrow 404 manage to get on top of it. OmegaLuL now having to back up, give some space and regroup, but it looks like they will be staying on this comp for B.
Really resilient and a real interesting thing to watch. And now the shield's actually gone out from the hammer. The Flank Ocean's got rid of Phoenix Risen. That is the Dragon Blade that was at the ready, no longer ready anymore because its wielder is dead. And OmegaLuL, just as we were saying that they were extremely fragile, they're holding very, very strong for now, with the cart in a pretty decent position to get into defensive positions for.
Absolutely, and that's the flip side of this defense. It can be fragile if you start losing pieces, especially without trades. It's going to unravel very quickly, but it's also very dangerous. And you can see this sort of multi-angle threat that they're able to set up. They've got long-range DPS on multiple high grounds, and there's just a lot of different threats. It's very hard to commit your tanks to any of them without other threats popping up in other directions.
Brent getting engaged upon by Sefu as the Diva got finished off by Pulsar, but ended up giving up the mech for it. Bob has decided to make a second appearance. Pulsar's got rid of the pilot in Flank Ocean. I keep wanting to call the actual name Dan Cursed Habits. But for now, Error 404, they vanquished enough of the defense to get the payload moving. But not having a member on it for a brief period could be the difference between the payload getting up the hill and staying outside of the courthouse.
Absolutely, and the need of them to commit everyone into that fight means that the payload is not progressing throughout it, which is absolutely huge. Tatsui goes for the barrage, but gets shut down, but so does Phoenix with the blade, getting picked out of the air by Clownfish as he engages on it. Absolutely huge, and the follow-through kills coming from the other members there, including several from Clownfish, is going to see another successful hold from OmegaLuL. So things are starting to look a little dangerous for the members of Era 404. The cart's in a very difficult position to attack from, and there's only 1 minute left on the clock.
And that 1 minute will actually bleed over into around 50 or 45 seconds because of that huge stagger onto Sefu, who does have the self-destructor hand and nothing to really block it on the side of OmegaLuL, so maybe it will be the most valuable asset. Phoenix Rising actually gone with the Tracer, so maybe the slate change could either be a big thing or a dead weight now that Clownfish has gotten the better of him. And, well, unless Error 404 waits again, they'll be fighting this last point underhanded.
Absolutely, and with 20 seconds left on the clock, they're running out of time here. Drac going down early, and Pulsar as well. Absolutely devastating for this attack. They are really not looking good here. Clownfish is just popping off on this Widowmaker. With 8 seconds left, it's only a matter of time. There goes Phoenix as well.
There is no way. Oh, there was the touch from Sefu. Did end up claiming a pair, and Hammond throws out the minefield to keep everybody off. Clownfish actually ended up claiming Drac, and Sherry is the only member left on the point until reinforcements arrive from 404, and they have not arrived a moment too soon. Kazoo Kid railed down Raven, and by the skin of their teeth, Error 404 are hanging on, but for how much longer?
That's it. Can someone get on that payload, or is it going to cap over? Yui getting back just in time to contest the cart, and now Kazoo Kid under a lot of pressure there as well. It looks like the defense will hold there, and so that will be a map win by OmegaLuL, but it was so close.
It was a couple of seconds away from actually ticking over to the third point, and that would have been not something they would have wanted given the position that the defense was in. And we see King's Risen go hammer and tongs, at least on our screens, and cut right through the attackers there. So we are tied at 1, and we go into our assault discipline. And we have a choice between Hanamura and the Temple of Anubis. And knowing the history, I'd say highly likely we're going to go to Hanamura.
Absolutely. I think especially if you've just come up against that quad DPS lineup with those really effective snipers, incredible work there from Clownfish, you definitely don't want to go to Anubis and risk having to deal with that Widow. And sure enough, we will be going over to Hanamura. Perhaps not much of a surprise there. But yeah, you were absolutely right, Cyber, with that Diva Bomb being a crucial tool. Does manage to pick up 2 late in the fight, and that is what gave them a chance to almost get that one across the line. So perhaps if they'd been able to commit that a little earlier in the fight, they may have actually been able to drag that through into third point. And there, it's a lot harder to get stuff done with that quad DPS. So maybe if they commit that Diva Bomb a little earlier, they're able to actually win up Dorado.
That's all hearsay and theory crafting now, because that map is now in the books. And we are going into our third map of a potential 5-map series. We're tied at 1. We're guaranteed at least 4 maps. So that's fun, because more Overwatch for the eyeballs. It's been a good day for Overwatch. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great day so far. There's been so many incredible games, and this one definitely shaping up to be another one as the scores are tied here. We've seen both these teams put on some great performances, and it's going to be interesting to see what they pull out here on Hanamura as well, because we've seen a lot of different varieties of defenses here for this point A, and it looks like we're actually probably going to be seeing just the traditional Zenyatta goats here from the members of Era 404 for this first point A defense.
And, well, if you know it works, why do anything different? And Drac, playing as Lucio, usually considered the taxi of the rest of the comrades, but given the amount of time it takes for the defense phase to finally conclude, it's not as valuable. But if the rest of the members go down, it could be a huge deal to get everybody into position. But now we're running into the final 5 seconds, and OmegaLuL will start to take shape in terms of the composition. And Flank Ocean, Soldier, hello Jack.
Yeah, I wonder if they will be sticking on that, or if it's just during the initial scouting. Yui's going to be pushed up to get some scouting there. Clownfish has come very deep as well, but we've seen just how dangerous they are on the Widowmaker. And yes, we are going to be seeing some compositional switches, but they're sticking on this quad DPS. Clownfish getting picked up early by Cherie, though, is a bit of a wrench in the plans of OmegaLuL, but it's only going to be a very brief issue before they are able to get their attack going again.
And Clownfish giving a little bit of a tip of the cap on that frag, and Big's right, got rid of Yui. So that's another piece of the lineup gone extremely early, and there has been no progress from OmegaLuL. Literally half of the time for the members I've been spectating, they've either been standing still or just staying in position while members go back, but a huge dink on Susefu brought him low but not out of the fight. So Clownfish is definitely sharp, no question about that, but hopefully they can capitalize on that. That is a good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great patience coming through from the members of OmegaLuL here. They may have lost a lot of time early on with some unfortunate early picks. They're able to set up that attack. They get their pieces into the positions they want to get that wide angle of attack, and it just creates so much space for Clownfish, for Flank Ocean, and for Tatsui, because they're able to fire on it from these long sight lines from very different directions. And now Clownfish already set up over point B. This is looking very dangerous.
And Tatsui had led the charge with the rest of OmegaLuL to get them right on the point. And this is just essentially a speed run of Hanamura. Almost gets a third for 3 for the reinforcements of 404 end up getting the touch on the point. And Yui has actually got the eject on the Sefu and the tactical visor from Flank Ocean. And given the defense matrix is no longer a part of the fray, this attack visor is getting a ton of value. 1/3. Looking to get a second before the members do get a touch. Looks like Era 404 did get a touch, and this is pretty much the best chance for the defense to stabilize. But if they keep going in single file, it's only a matter of time before OmegaLuL gets a score on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all well and good to get someone on the point, but Clownfish is still free-firing from the high ground on that Widowmaker, and they are still picking up kills. They need to be able to do something about that. Pulsar finally trying to get into a position to challenge that Widowmaker, and we're going to see the sights popped out instead, and Clownfish just cleaning up this point on the Widowmaker. Just incredible performance.
This insanely strong hit scan tandem from Flank Ocean and Clownfish. We call it Flankfish or something like that, and that was a masterclass in Hanamura's snowballs from the side of OmegaLuL. 4 minutes and 59. I have not seen a time bank like that in quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely. They may have taken a bit longer on A just due to some unfortunate early picks, but once they get rolling, they are just unstoppable. Once Clownfish is set up on the high ground with the sightlines he's looking for, everyone is his prey, and no one is able to deal with it. So just some incredible performances there, and great work from the rest of the members as well of OmegaLuL for providing all that space and that support to Clownfish so that they are able to then provide those results.
And I'd say that entire snowball was based on the fact that one of the members of the defense of Era 404 was Sefu on the Zarya, decided to hang around for a little bit too long and was making the long way back from point A, and ended up getting staggered out and didn't get a chance to get back into position. So effectively forced 404's hand to play at a man disadvantage when the OmegaLuL attack had gone into position.
Well, OmegaLuL was very aggressive with their attack. Taksui and Clownfish were already set up on their positions over B before A had finished being captured. So they were able to play out there, play as a vanguard, get the positions that they want, and then get the early kills they need to hold those positions, and it really showed. And it put Aero 404 on such of a back foot. But now we've moved over to the defense. Let's see if we're able to see the same performance out of them, or if we're going to see OmegaLuL get something going, or rather Aero 404 get something going here.
Yui playing the recon and playing the nuisance as the Sombra had hacked down Kazoo Kid briefly, but it looks like Aero 404 as staying as a contingent for now.
Thanks.
In terms of ult charges, not in a good place for where they are situated. And with Pharmacy in the sky with Taksui and Bread playing the honors, be extremely wary if you are on the ground. But it looks like a third will be given up, but Clownfish will get rid of Phoenix Risen, so a small bit of value to start off with, and OmegaLuL is starting to develop on the point proper. As Raven is taken down, as the trades are going back and forth. And the Infrasight comes out from the Widowmaker, but almost giving up 2 ticks for free for OmegaLuL. This had the potential to bite them extremely hard, but it looks like OmegaLuL's defense, although fragile in terms of raw HP, it looks like it's starting to stabilize.
Yeah, and that said, there were a couple of late kills there. Clownfish does get the res, but it's not going to be all 5 of them back, as Flank Ocean does need to run back from the spawn. At the very least, he is the soldier and can run, but there's an opportunity here to push through before he's reinforced. Never mind, he's made it back to the defense, and so we are going to see an EMP here.
Oh dear, and a big EMP from Yui and Taksui with the barrage to follow up, and Flank Ocean uses the tack visor to lay it on extremely thick. Perhaps a little bit too trigger happy was Flank Ocean as the soldier using the tack visor, but I guess to be sure, he'll get it in short enough order to really warrant it. So OmegaLuL standing strong for now and running into 1 minute 45 for Aero 404. It looks like we have had a change of the guard.
Absolutely, they're going over to the dive composition here. They've realized they need to be able to engage on some of these targets. They need to take it down. They can't just run through the middle and take space, because they will eventually get poked apart. Only a matter of time until Clownfish finds the shot through, and so they need to do something a bit more proactive to deal with this multi-pronged DPS threat. That said, it's still not an easy task. All of this composition is designed to peel away from those threats. It's going to take a big commitment to get anyone, and there's the commitment now on the Flank Ocean.
Flank Ocean and Bread and Clownfish are already up, and Raven has got rid of Cherry, but there was the second tick accrued by Aero 404, but at this point in the game, it's basically chalk and cheese. Raven pulls out the minefield to keep everybody at bay and makes Pulsar lose their legs. And 45 seconds, and this Rubik's Cube that is OmegaLuL's composition is still yet to be solved, and time is running out for Aero 404.
Absolutely, and they just do not have a lot of tools available due to their late swap onto the dive composition. still haven't managed to build up a lot of the ultimates. They do have their support ultimates online, and they may need to commit them just to get it going. There's Kazoo Kid getting the nano there. Already Cherie going down before the sound barrier comes through. Not a good position to be in.
And Tatsui ended up going down to Pulsar as the Tracer, but did take a body down with them, so that in the grand scheme was worth it. Kazuki puts the backhand to Bread, so that was the mob taken care of, but that was just slim pickings. The strong defense from OmegaLuL, although fragile it looks, was strong as carbon fiber. That is the map going to them.
Absolutely, and so far they have looked so good on this quad DPS. It was a little rough at the start of Dorado, but they got into the swing of things as the map went on, and they've just been absolutely unstoppable since. Era 404 really need to come up with an answer to this, and they need to come up with it soon, or it's going to be very difficult for them to get this one across the line. That said, we will be going over to our hybrid map next, which means the opportunity to take this to King's Row. And I don't think I've ever seen a team try to run that quad DPS on King's Row, so that may be the saving grace for them.
There's always a first for everything, but maybe there's a reason for that where it's just not viable on a map like King's Row.
Well, it is a composition. It is a composition that requires a lot of different angles, and King's Row doesn't have that many. There's certainly a few on that first point, but once you hit the streets, it's very forwards and back, so can be very, very difficult to set up that kind of multi-pronged attack there. But first, we'll need to see just where the teams want to take it.
Yes, and this is just relying on my memory of recall, and I believe we have the choice between King's Row and, well, it doesn't matter what the other one is. It looks like the choice has been made. King's Row is the call from Era 404. Just to clarify, whoever loses the previous map gets the power of choice. And with all that being said and done, we'll just call ourselves ready, and we'll be into King's Row momentarily.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely the right decision. King's Row going to be much safer against that than the likes of Eichenwald, where you have a lot more long sight lines, a lot more angles that could be taken, at least until you hit the third point. And of course, everyone probably has the most scrim hours on King's Row of all maps. It has always been the crowd favorite, and that's definitely going to continue to be the case for probably a long time to come, as not even this tank-heavy meta has dissuaded people from liking the map King's Row, even as people continue to dislike the very nature of those 3-3 compositions that work so well on it.
Yeah, well, it's one of the signature maps of Overwatch. I'd say the signature map, like along the lines of, say, 2-Fort and Team Fortress 2, or Dust 2 and Counter-Strike, or this might be showing my age, but I'd say Tunisia from Call of Duty 2, or whatever the case may be, or whatever your game of choice is. But now, the hero pick phase is now underway, and Phoenix Rising taking their time and making their choice. We might actually see a pause. Nope. Looks like they are in the server making their choice. Yet again, sticking on the soldier.
Absolutely. So, a bit of an interesting decision there. We don't see a lot of soldier outside of these quad DPS compositions. So it's interesting that Phoenix is actually going to be going for it on this defense, but maybe it was just because it was a late pick and he needed to get to points. Hard to say, but either way, that is going to be the state of this defense as we make our way into this first push.
Holding a strong angle at the main choke, and a quick go from the Wrecking Ball of Flank Ocean. We saw that in the Overwatch League, as a matter of fact, as a viable strategy, but Phoenix Risen takes out Yui extremely early on. But despite that, a third has already been accrued for the side of OmegaLuL. So a small victory for them despite being down a player.
Absolutely, and there goes Tatsui as well, taken out by Sefu. But the defense, yeah, now starting to stabilize, starting to push forwards and take back space. There goes Raven as well, and that is going to see the reset come through from the members of the OmegaLuL.
Yeah, that is the call to retreat, especially when your big beefy German boy is off the table and everybody else is extremely low. Pull the pin on it, and it looks like Hammond has been retired by Flank Ocean and has gone to the D.Va. So we see the extremely traditional, extremely common goat set up with the Ana in tow. So keep an eye on Raven, potentially getting the nano boost. Or Flank Ocean, should the situation permit. Looks like the gears have been kicked up by the side of OmegaLuL, and they're wanting to drop down to the point and wrap around.
Yeah, they're going all the way around, just taking control of that high ground and forcing Phoenix Risen to go on a long rotation, but the soldier has got quite a lot of speed and is able to rotate all the way around. Here comes the Tac Visor now, but that's mostly going to get cancelled out by that shield. That said, good shatter coming through because that shield has turned around to deal with the Tac Visor, and even though Kazukid does get picked up by Raven, this fight is looking overwhelmingly in favour of the defense now.
Especially with the mecha form of the pilot form of Flank Ocean hitting a trio of Phoenix rockets. So that will be Era 404 standing strong, and they have quite a bit of heavy artillery at the ready for the next fight.
Absolutely, they've really been able to entrench themselves on this defense. They've got a lot of ultimates online, but that early kill into Shuri is very dangerous.
Clownfish is running Shuri down with the particle cannon. That will give the player advantage over to OmegaLuL. With Drak and Kazukid hitting the deck, the defense is too far away, and finally OmegaLuL have seized the first point and get the payload moving with 3 minutes now. 3 minutes and 40 to be exact as they move into the street phase, and OmegaLuL is really getting right up into the grill of Era 404 as they get into positions in the foundry.
Absolutely, and we will be seeing some hero compositional swaps coming through from the defenders now. Phoenix Risen moving over to the Brigadier and Pulsar over to the D.Va. They are going to mirror this with their Ana Goats, which should give them an advantage against this Moira one. It's going to be interesting to see if we continue to see more adaptations, but here comes the Coalescence and the sleep on the Taxui. Great play from Shuri there.
And that is actually a huge part of the healing and the damage of this composition taken out of the fray. There's the self-destruct thrown in from Flank Ocean, and the ocean rose above them and washed away the opposition. The team kill bell will sound, and that is a big hero play from Flank Ocean. Blown away the D.Va.
Absolutely, some great D.Va bomb placement there, and a really great follow-through from Raven as well to get the shatter down. Just make sure that no one's getting away from that one, and there's not going to be a shield available to block against it. So great coordination from these tanks. There will be one last fight here on second, but Pulsar eating Taxui's grab. Big opening.
There's Taxui's Coalescence according to the icon. That was extremely strange. At any rate, Phoenix Risen will put the flower right through Bread, trading 1 for 1, but Yui going down is a big thorn in the side, and the Taxui using the Coalescence there to keep everybody up and rail down Phoenix Risen, so trading backwards and forwards and keeping things consistent. Now the sound barrier is committed by Drak, who would slightly give the edge to Era 404, and right in the face of Clownfish, he will put up the barrier and use the bomb to get themselves a bit more charged. The Graviton Surge is committed from both sides in stereo, and it's basically a back and forth affair. Yui will claim Sefu, and well, just grinding it out and showing OmegaLuL's fortitude. It looks like we are coming oh so close to the second checkpoint, falling to OmegaLuL, but they are not giving it up without a fight on the side of Era 404. But they will have to give it up now with the entire side being bowled out. 1 minute has turned into 2 minutes and 30 on the clock for OmegaLuL to finish King's Row.
Yeah, a really nice grind there. It was a difficult position to be in as the defenders, but they bought a lot of time off the clock and really forced a lot of investment from the attackers as well. They've drained a lot of ultimates out of OmegaLuL just to get that one across the line. And this means they've got an opportunity to set up a good defense here on third. Taxi has swapped over to the Zenyatta, but they're going to push forwards with an early rally to take this early fight.
Really trying to assert dominance, especially with the shields coming close to shattering, and did end up being shattered and going down. And that was about as easy as you would like to basically get yourself dug in for Era 404. They're in a very strong position at about.
They're in a strong positional, they've got a strong positional advantage here now, but they didn't quite get the ultimate economy they really wanted from that fight either. They've got Pulsar's Diva Bomb available, but that's not really a fight-winning tool in and of itself. And unfortunately, Raven and Clownfish are very close to having their ultimates online. So this next fight could be very dangerous for the defense. They need to come up with something big to just avoid losing on ultimates.
Any slight miss time will be big. There is the shatter committed there, and there's the transcendence to keep everybody back in the fight. The Graviton was committed by Sefu, and a big one coming back in turn. It's a full-blown scrap fight now, and Era 404 just coming out the better of it in terms of damage going out. But now OmegaLuL, sure, the damage is going out from the opposite side, but the frags are going in the favor of OmegaLuL. Has turned back on a dime, and now finally that has been snapped, and OmegaLuL can keep going for this final fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe a bit of a misplay there from Era 404. They lost a couple of people early to the ults. They hadn't used any of theirs, and then they invest heavily. Might have been better just to hold their ults and win the next fight, because now they're in a very dangerous position on this final defense, and Raven is just running roughshod all over them.
And now it's only solid for time. There is Sherry as the Transcendent Zenyatta. The self-destruct was committed by Flank Ocean, did claim the pilot of Pulsar. And, well, it's only a matter of time. Now, overtime is in effect. That is one small consolation, but that will be the payload over the line for OmegaLuL.
Absolutely. And getting into overtime at that point is big. But I really feel like with how that ultimate rotation was going, that maybe if they hadn't invested quite so heavily on that second to last fight, after they were already 2 people down, maybe, just maybe, they're able to win that last fight and stop the payload entirely. That said, that's neither here nor there, as now it will be their chance to try and push through, try and break the OmegaLuL defense, and set themselves up to take this to a Game 5.
Something that they would really want to do too, because we've seen a lot of strong combat taking place not only on King's Row but on the map that will follow, which is Ilios. And now Era 404, they have to basically finish out the map. If they can finish out with a time bank, that will be even better for them. And now we'll wait and see how everything will shake out. It looks like OmegaLuL is sticking with the Sombra, who has come into quite a large favor in these circles as of late.
Absolutely, the Sombra are very impactful in these sorts of tank-heavy matchups, so it's going to be interesting to see if Yui can get the value out of it that we've seen so many Sombras do. But obviously the dream for Era 404 here is not only getting the full map finish, but doing it with more than a minute left on the clock, so that they are able to play for that first point without having to do any other defending. That said, we will have the gates open, and it looks like they're coming out with the Widowmaker and the Pharah, so that's a lot of long-range threat that there really isn't an answer to on the part of the defenders, so this is looking very good for the initial offense.
Yes, Yui with the SMG will essentially just be tickling them at a long distance, while Pulsar and Phoenix will be just laying down the boots very early on, and the third will almost be given up for free on the point, and Tatsui will be the first member to fall on the side of OmegaLuL as Pulsar opens proceedings for the second half. And while it is basically a war of attrition now, it could be given to the side of Era 404 with both Flank Ocean and Raven going down, and just as quickly as that fight started, it has concluded, and Era 404 could not have been more efficient if they tried.
Absolutely, they get the big read there. They rightfully predict that what they need to bring out to really crack open this defense, and unfortunately, the members of OmegaLuL just do not have the tools they need to stop this long-range poke comp. Tatsui going down early there means it's going to be so hard to get a contest going as well, which means we're going to see a lot of free payload movement through this second stage. Flank Ocean now, I think jumping off to reset, I think they desperately need to pull out something, and yes, Flank Ocean will be going over to the Diva, so they at least have an answer to all those Pharaoh rockets, but they're definitely playing from behind here, the members of OmegaLuL, and this is looking very good for the offense.
I'm really unsure about losing the Brigida that was being Flank Ocean. That might end up being a very costly tale. Tatsui first to go down again, which is a big get. There is the Valkyrie going up from Sherry to keep everybody up, and Adam fighting fit, doing damage. And it looks like that is exactly what will happen. A lot of the members of Era 404 contributing to knocking down the defense, and just it's pretty much going to plan for Era 404. Just basically cutting out the street space entirely.
Absolutely, and we will see Flank Ocean now moving back to the Brigida, probably because they're expecting this to end up being a fight on the third point. I don't know if they're going to go for a recontest here at second. They could get there. Yes, they are going to go in for it.
Big EMP. This could be the movement that stabilizes things. There is Gravitas in stereo as well, and just the little moment of hesitation has.
Oh no, it gets capped!
Called. They got back capped by the. I think it was the Zarya that was on the point. Did end up going down, but if you are a OmegaLuL, that is got to hurt.
That is devastating. That is the actual Charlie Niner right there. They won the fight and they lost the point regardless. That's gotta hurt, and now they are just needing to reset desperately, because look at this offense. They are just pushing forwards and taking so much space. Late kill onto Raven is really going to set them up here in this final stage.
Oh yes, this could actually swirl around in their heads and give Era 404 so much time in their back pocket too. It could be the deciding factor. Pulsar did use the Infrasight to give the assistance to now the potential pounce attack of Sherry and Phoenix Fusion, just to keep everybody occupied. Pulsar will to get rid of Flank Ocean. That is a tank and damage dealer off of the table. There is the Earth Shatter to knock down a few members of Era 404, but the sound barrier will come in and assist. And Kazoo Kid making things go bad to worse for the side of OmegaLuL. And then OmegaLuL has turned into a failfish, and not like this, as Era 404 take advantage of one slight misstep of the defense, and that ends up costing them dearly.
Absolutely, and what a nasty position to be playing from here now if you are the members of OmegaLuL. They've got just over 4 minutes on the clock to try and hold the first third of the first point. We will just be having a bit of a pause, as it looks like one of the players has disconnected, but we'll be getting back into it shortly, and once we do, it will be on the members. It will be on the members here now of OmegaLuL to try and hold out this first point for 4 minutes. Just the first third of the first point, with as much time on the clock as you'd normally start with to capture all of it. Not an enviable position to be in at all.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but as you said, it's going to be extremely difficult to hold on for 4 minutes. Well, it's fitting. 4 minutes and 4 seconds for 404.
Huh.
It's almost like it was meant to be.
Absolutely. And with them playing as well as they were on that offense, it absolutely was meant to be, as they just took apart the members of OmegaLuL. It was an amazing performance out of them, and it was just very difficult. Like, OmegaLuL just could not... They could not come up with the answer for it, unfortunately. They tried swapping over to the Diva. Maybe we need something to eat those rockets. It does weaken their front line, however, and as a result, they just, unfortunately, by that point, the snowball was already in effect, and just too much going against them. They almost win that defensive fight, but unfortunately, they get a little too over eager chasing kills, and the back cap comes through. And the back cap comes through just in time for all the dead members to respawn in their new spawn and push through to absolutely destroy the defenders there. So just really unfortunate timing there. Just really everything going absolutely in error for Four's favor.
Just that one mistake, we'll keep going back to it. It's not something that you do want to see. Looking in a winning position, so close to the first checkpoint where you can actually stabilize that particular section of the streets phase is pretty common in terms of defenses that you can just roll the payload back, but not when you have it tick over like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just really unfortunate because obviously that was a fight that they won, but the back cap coming through, Sefu getting it across the line on the Zarya, and it just absolutely opened the door to push it all the way through C. Normally a place that can be very well defended, but with the late stagger kills onto the members of OmegaLuL, there was just no opportunity to set up any sort of defense whatsoever.
That is a really unfortunate series of events there for OmegaLuL, and now they've made things a lot more difficult than they probably would have liked. They might have even held on defensively if things had gone a little bit differently, but that's all in the past now, and we have to observe this lay of the land and have 404 for 404 on the clock for them, and that's only to accrue 1/3 as opposed to the entire section. No enviable position there.
Absolutely. A lot of pressure onto these members, and it looks like we are still just awaiting for the return of one of the players. And unfortunately, no ETA as of yet as to what will be happening there. But bear with us as we wait for this one to get back underway.
Just playing the patience game, and we're communicating with the teams in the lobby to try and get a little bit of status on Tatsui, because Tatsui was quite an impact player, being the support for OmegaLuL, and losing that piece if it is being forced, well, not forced, but if it is elected that they go 5 versus 6, it's only going to go from bad to worse.
Yeah, absolutely. They've already got a one heck of a Sicilian task ahead of them, trying to hold on to this point A. Having to do it 5v6 is something of the death knell against them. So it's going to be very rough indeed if they're not able to get all the members of their team back.
A little bit unfortunate, and a very rare set of circumstances where a member's dropped and then they end up capping it out. I only remember seeing it once, and this is forever ago, where a member had dropped. It was 5 versus 6, and they ended up winning out. That was not even on a hybrid map. That was on a assault map. Actually, it was on Horizon Lunar Colony just after that came out. So it's a rare feat, not impossible, but extremely rare to win with a man down, to win with a player down.
Absolutely, very difficult to do. It's certainly much more likely to happen in the likes of a ranked, where your teamwork is perhaps a little less together, and sometimes that person being down really just focuses up the team to play together better. But obviously, here with these teams that are used to playing together and practicing, a lot more coordinated from the get go, which means that there's not a lot more they can do to focus up in that sort of disadvantage. And it's really just going to come down to, well, probably if Clownfish can once again put on an incredible show on that Widowmaker, because if he's able to just take over the game again, then maybe there's a chance. But it's going to be difficult to keep him safe when you're at that man disadvantage.
and just a little bit of digging in terms of how things are at the moment. But we're getting the autocorrect sentences from from in the game itself. So it's a bit of a bit unfortunate. We're left a little bit in the dark, so we will propose that we throw it all break until Taksui returns and we get back to this map. You're watching the Australian Amateur Overwatch League, our match between OmegaLuL and Error 404. We thank you for joining us and thank you for your patience. And we are back. Welcome back to our coverage of the Amateur Australia Overwatch League here on Kings Row. We are in the midst of our fourth map between Era 404 and OmegaLuL. And unfortunately, we have had a player drop, and so it was a bit of an impact. It was a bit of an impact player that has dropped for them, and it looks like due to the situation, we may have to play 5 or 6, but we have had someone join the service, so we might see them play at full strength, but have a sub go out mid map.
Yeah, it looks like there will be a late substitution in from Kire. Just, I suppose, waiting on confirmation that we are right to proceed with that before we get this one back underway. But it does look like both teams are comfortable with that, so we will be restarting this one very shortly. And just to refresh our viewers' memories, it is Error 404 with 404 in the time bank trying to attack in Kings Row. They have all of the advantages, and it's just going to be down to trying to get that first tick. So a lot of pressure on the members of OmegaLuL. If Error 404 pick this one up, we will be going to a 5th map in Ilios. And looks like we will be getting underway very shortly.
Yes, I'm just waiting for a little bit of confirmation from the higher ups of the tournament, and it looks like we are good to proceed. So I will make the call, and we will get back underway.
Okay, and yeah, I think there may have been just a slight delay just to get Yeah, they just are waiting to get their sub into the Discord, so that obviously they have team communications. So that obviously a bit important. They're obviously really going to be trying to get this defensive hold, but until that gets organized, we will unfortunately be continuing to hold here at this pause screen, and hopefully the moderators are able to get our players set up in their comms channels shortly so that we can get this all underway.
And well, I'm just glad that the son of OmegaLuL could actually fight with a full 6, and just really unfortunate. Although they're bringing in a sub, Tatsui definitely held his own as the support player and had a couple of shining moments. So a little bit of a adaptation on the fly will have to take place before OmegaLuL could really put up a fight. But even if they did have that core, they've got a Herculean task ahead of them.
Absolutely, it is not going to be easy to get the draw here on Kings Row, and that's really all they have available to play for as well. It will be playing for the draw. If they are able to get that draw, however, that will allow them to. No, actually, it won't allow them to win the series. I believe it is first to 3, so we will be going to a map 5 regardless. I think the draw only puts it over to a tiebreaker control map from memory.
Yeah,
So,
I believe that is Oasis. That is the tiebreaker.
yes, absolutely. So even then, if they manage to hold it on for 4 minutes and manage to get it through to the draw, it's still only going to take it from there over to a golden point Oasis to try and win this map. So definitely quite a mountain ahead of the members of OmegaLuL as we begin to get rolling here on Kings Row. We're finally back into it. Thank you for your patience, ladies and gentlemen, and let's get this going.
Let's get this show on the road. And Era 404 do have the luxury of time and plenty of time, and a thematically fitting 4 minutes and 4 seconds to commandeer the point. And well, given that they do have that much time, maybe they can do something a little bit unorthodox for themselves to get this point. But Yui is, knowing that they're on a one and done situation, is going to the Sombra, is cloaked up, and is moving out towards the main gate. As soon as they go down, he's going to be relaying it to the rest of the OmegaLuL squad, perhaps hanging a high value target.
Absolutely, and OmegaLuL are going to be going to that multi-DPS comp to try and take this down. They have looked so good on this, and that is going to be an early hack onto Kazoo which is absolutely going to be what they need. Ooh, early kill onto Cherie there. That's going to buy them the time they need. It's going to buy them some breathing room. That's the first fight won, but many more to go.
Yeah, definitely an uphill climb for OmegaLuL, but a good start on the ascent. And yet another change. Cherie has decided to go with, was thinking the Ana, had second thoughts, and has gone to the Moira for this one. But Yui could still be an absolute thorn in their side just looking at their composition.
Oh, that's a good hack.
A big hack. And Flank Ocean's actually taken down as well. So that's one crucial piece taken out of the fight. If Raven goes down, it's going to be extremely difficult for OmegaLuL to stand.
And this is looking like that will be all, as all the members of Era 404 taking up presence on the point there. That will be that. That is Kings Row done and dusted. However, that just means that we're going over to Ilios. And what do we see in Ilios? Well, a lot of the time we see Ilios ruins, and we've seen just how dangerous Clownfish can be on this Widowmaker. So it is certainly far from over for the members of OmegaLuL. They've definitely still got a road to victory here, even with Tatsui out of the lineup and Kuri in to replace. The game is far from over.
And now it is a single 3-point control map to decide it all. We go to Ilios. We could either get the well, we could get the aforementioned ruins, or we could get the lighthouse. I'm personally looking forward to the lighthouse.
Yeah, definitely another map that really plays well into those sort of long range heroes and long sight lines. And OmegaLuL have looked so dangerous when they're able to set those ones up. So, but we will be starting on Ruins, and that means we are probably going to be seeing some Widow duels here, or at the very least, hopefully, we see a bit more of Clownfish just clicking heads as we look to get this one underway.
I want to see Clownfish and Phoenix Rising going at it. That seems like it'd be a super fun matchup.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely agreed. And just waiting a little longer, it looks like the assemble timer is set to an excessively high amount in this lobby, which unfortunately means the players have a lot of time to contemplate their hero picks before they pick whatever the team is already pre-planned and strategized on for this particular map stage. And sure enough, we are going to see those heroes locked in, but interestingly, it looks like the members of OmegaLuL are actually just going to be running goats here. So they're not going to be putting Clownfish onto the Widowmaker. Let's see how that pays off for them, because on the other side, we are going to see Phoenix Rising on the Sombra and Pulsar on the Widowmaker, with the dive tanks there to allow them a bit of mobility and retreat room. So very asymmetrical battle coming out here, and we'll see how this one unfolds as the teams make their way towards the point.
Pulsar keeping an eye on the potential rollout of OmegaLuL. Looks like they've decided to keep an eye on the point and have already dropped down. So in terms of territory, you give it to OmegaLuL because they're actually on the point proper. That is one part of the fight done, and with that, not even a full-blown engagement. Error 404 basically commandeering, letting the opposition commandeer the point, and have decided to change. They didn't like what they saw and have switched up their lineup accordingly.
Absolutely, and that's fair enough. If you look at that and you go, no, this is not a composition we can win, we can't win this fight, then absolutely the right call to just go back to spawn, avoid giving over ult charge, and take the fight from there. So very nicely played by them, and that early kill onto Raven is absolutely going to set up this next fight.
Big initial frag, and with Drak getting flank ocean ejected, giving the final blow. Although there is personnel on the point for OmegaLuL, it's only a matter of time, barring any theatrics, especially with the health bars going so low. And Pulsar getting rid of Bread has tipped the point over and got a couple of parting frags for Error 404 to really contemplate on. And Kazukid's really going forward, and he's been put to sleep to stop his progress.
Absolutely, but it looks like he's not going to be able to do much more. They are going to be backing up, and we do see the wholesale composition swaps coming out from the members of OmegaLuL. Clownfish now onto the Widowmaker, so they're going to look to retake with this multi-pronged DPS threat that they've been so good on earlier. Let's see if Kure can fill the big shoes of Tatsui as we move forward. But Clownfish getting very far forwards, gets stunned out by Phoenix and taken back to their spawn.
Yeah, off of the single frag, and we mentioned it earlier with these compositions, it's extremely fragile. Even more so than Ghost in terms of how much a frag means. As soon as one member goes down, it's almost the entire push done and dusted. But Yui has gotten rid of Phoenix Risen, so that is a big cog in the machine taken off of the table. Big shadow onto Raven and put the shoulder in there to boot. So that's the tank, the damage absorber, no longer a part of proceedings. And while Clownfish does get a reply, Error 404 keep accruing percentage.
Absolutely, Clownfish in danger of taking over this game now. The shots just keep coming, and that's sort of the danger of this. They've set up, there's the barrage coming in from Yui as well. This is looking like it will be a flip.
And probably not soon enough for the rest of the squad to really deal with it. Now Clownfish is coming to his element. I know I highlighted him in our intro. We might have been seeing a duel, and now we see it not between Phoenix and Clownfish, but Pulsar has decided to have a go and step to him. But now OmegaLuL closing the gap, and now with the infrasight, the side of OmegaLuL will definitely be aware of the lay of the land. And Phoenix Risen has got rid of Bread, so that is the one of actually the only healer off of the table, and that is a big disadvantage for OmegaLuL.
Absolutely, very crucial opening frag there, and as a result we are going to see the members of OmegaLuL peeling back, and the Valkyrie being popped by Bread just to get back to the fight in time, which they do, but the kills still coming through against them. This is looking very much like Era 404 take back control.
Only a matter of time with a single member of the personnel, that being Bread, finally put down by the Kazoo Kid, and just to boot, Flank Ocean was put out with the concussive blast from Drac. So now we are in one and done territory to prevent Era 404 from getting the first map, and they're ill-equipped to do it on the red side.
Absolutely, Raven just barely making it back onto the point there, but gets hacked out, and that is absolutely going to put him into a lot of danger. And the kills all just coming through against them. Just Era 404 taking over the game, taking over this point. Flank Ocean has made it back on the hog, but his life is limited, and that will be the gong. Team kill and everything gone.
Nerf this.
Yeah, and OmegaLuL now on borrowed time. One map down, and now have to battle back for two. It's definitely in the realm of possibility, but we go to the well, the point that we had not seen this evening until this very point.
Well, 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 look what we have here. And this is definitely looking to be the last hurrah here for OmegaLuL. They need to get this one. Otherwise, that's the end of this series. It's been interesting. They looked so strong on that multi-DPS comp before, but already we are seeing adaptations out of Era 404, and Clownfish, previously the unstoppable, finally managed to be stopped. And now, as a result, it's match point here on Ilios.
And Clownfish being forced extremely early, Phoenix Risen is laying the damage on thick. Clownfish brought down low again, and really relying on Bread as the mercy to keep the rest of the comrades up. Yumi's really wanting to go toe-to-toe with Phoenix Risen, but you definitely give it to the far other side of 404 in terms of being stronger, at least at this present moment. But with both of these teams going into basically a tooth and nail fight, it's essentially who will break first, and Pulsar's made a big dent in that.
Absolutely, Pulsar picking up Yui and then picking up Clownfish as well. Phoenix Risen now has the space to come in over the top with the barrage, and that is going to be the cleanup. So as a result, we are going to see Era 404 setting up on this point and getting the early progress here. And well can be such a nasty one to crack once it's captured as well, just because of the sheer size of that point. So they could be here for quite some time now that they've got this progress going.
Especially with the long sight lines, and keep an eye on the Deadeye of Pulsar. And there is no defense matrix to take things out. It won't need a Deadeye if you hit Yui right in the mouth and ends up getting the killing blow onto the Farah, swinging him like a fly. Clownfish will get rid of the opposing Farah in Phoenix Risen. So that is an even go.
Ooh.
And Pulsar yet again. Patience will pay off, will obliterate Yui and keep Era 404 on the gas pedal so far.
Absolutely. Flank Ocean coming in for a play there from the flank, but gets stunned out immediately. That whole hog not going anywhere. Unfortunately, Sefu responding in kind. No such luck, and that is going to be Flank Ocean off the edge there. Clownfish does pick up Phoenix Risen in the meanwhile, though, and the supercharges will come out from both Orissas. But kills coming through from both sides, but Clownfish, uncontested on this high ground, might be able to clutch this one out.
Dueling bongos, making similar music go in similar rhythmic patterns. And finally, it was looking like a full-blown tug of war between OmegaLuL and Era 404. And it's still proving to do so, but it looks like OmegaLuL might be getting pulled away from the point.
Maybe, but there's still, the kills are coming through very evenly, and that favors Era 404, who is still set up. That hook onto Raven, now deleting it. This is looking amazing for Era 404. They've still got all the presence on the point. Their dead members are reinforcing, and Pulsar with the Deadeye is going to pick up Kirei as well. It's looking like they've done this one. It looks like after such a long series, They've managed to bounce back and win this one. It's just the last couple of members desperately pushing on the point from OmegaLuL. Bread desperately trying to keep things alive. The kills all coming through in favor of OmegaLuL. Raven's back, but how long can he really last on that wrecking ball? Can't get back onto the point. That will be an Error 404 victory.
Indeed, it was not easy for them. They had to go through 5 maps to do it, and did a lot of tooth and nail fighting to basically accrue a well-deserved victory. And on the back of plays like this from Pulsar, it's quite easy to see why.
Yeah, absolutely. An incredible performance from all the players on both these teams. A really hard-fought series, but in the end, it is Error 404 who are able to bring this one out in the end. They do make a dominant showing on Ilios, and with that, that is going to see them take the W in this match.
And a well-earned one at that, and a cap tip as well to OmegaLuL being worthy opponents and putting on a good show for everybody watching. But that looks like it will be it for tonight's coverage of the Amateur Australian Overwatch League. And do you have any parting words, Peronius?
No, actually, I don't. At this stage, my main concerns is just how exhausted I am. They've been such incredible matches tonight. And with that, I am just completely drained. So I guess all I've got is thank you to all our viewers out there, and we'll see you next time on the AAOL.
Yeah, and the league is definitely in full swing. I'm tired as well, so we're going to do our side-offs and pack it up for the night. Good night, happy fragging, and be the best hero you can